Yehudit, this one stood out for me largely because I couldn't fit it into the exhibit. First of all, what's the theme of this section?
This section at large speaks about the annals of the Holocaust. There is a progression of how things started in the ghetto and how they progressively worsened. There's one stage within the Holocaust that somehow did not get embedded in the collective memory. It is what I tend to call Holocaust by bullets. Holocaust by bullet was the stage before the mass murder in the concentration and extermination camps.
This is the period where they would make them dig their own graves and then shoot them all.
Exactly. There were the German commanded troops called the Einsatzgruppen, and they were in charge of rounding up Jews, bringing them to a spot, robbing them of any possession they had, undressing them after they dug the pit, put them on the precipice, and shoot them. 1.5 million Jews were killed in that manner.
In 1/4.
Yes.
But the only suggestion in this painting of anything wrong is this little sign, which I can't read because it's in Russian, is it?
Yes, yes.
And then, of course, you get a clue that it's about the Holocaust because of where it is and the Star of David, but that's all.
Well, it's actually the Russian red
star.
Oh,
it's the Russian. I don't have
yes.
my glasses on,
yes.
You're right.
Okay.
I thought it was the Star of David.
But you see, this is what it's all about. The fact that you come to Europe today and people, as well as nature, have a cover-up story where people were murdered, and this is the killing pit, where the parents and relatives of Yaakov Rumgratz were murdered.
Oh, it's the actual place.
And that's what it says there.
I see.
Now he comes, and you can see why it was chosen, because it's a raven, and after people were shot, they just fell into the valley. Now he comes back there, and look what nature does. It has grown green, very lush vegetation. And he wants to tell you that's what on the surface. But if you look at the under layers, there's a story to be told. My people were murdered there.
Wow. Well, it's so much powerful with the explanation. I wonder, is there a note underneath that explains it?
Well, it
I
gives, it just
I don't
gives,
have my glasses, so I
yes,
didn't read it.
it does say that it's a killing pit.
I see.
Yes.
I
So
see.
with paintings, as with other forms of art, you have to dwell into it. You have to work with yourself about what you see and figure out.
Except
yes.
I had you to help me. It was far easier. I mean, I tell my students that they, have to work hard to do things.
Exactly.
But here I am leaning on you. Okay, there's one other over here I want to look at.
Okay.
Yehudit, this is obviously part of paintings with the Star of David on people's arms or their coats. Now this one with these two children is interesting because whereas a lot of them are dark, these children are gorgeous children. They're very well dressed. One has the Star of David and one, I don't see a Star of David. I don't know whether that's significant. It's clearly in Holland because of Antwerp on it. But they also have different expressions. So maybe you can explain this painting to me.
Yes, the Star of David is a very clear message that we are speaking about a very certain period. It cannot speak about other people. It's the Star of David, and it's yellow, so it has to be about the Jews. And if it's yellow, then it has to do about the Holocaust. It's a very clear message what period we are addressing. Without uttering one word, you see this, you know what it's about. If you look close, it says Yud on it. It's in Antwerp, actually in Belgium.
Oh, Belgium, yeah, right.
And I think it gives the message that for the Germans, there's no innocence. No innocence and no mercy. Children were treated as Jews are going to be adults. And we don't want Jews on the face of this world, so we don't want children. You know, children were never a target of any war. It doesn't mean they were not killed by accident. But to have children as a target is a very specific message of a war that is an ideology. An ideology to kill a certain people because they belong to a certain race. And this painting says exactly this. We have two beautiful, very well-dressed, sweet children. But the perpetrator has no mercy. No matter how beautiful, no matter how wealthy, they come from a well-to-do family, we can see it, they are marked like adults.
The sense I get, though, is that this child, the boy, is younger. He has a bit of a smile. His eyes are still innocent. Whereas if you get her expression on her mouth, she's much more worried that she's in the transition, that her eyes are almost amazed.
I agree
and so
with
you.
you.
And that's why she has the star and he doesn't.
Well,
that's the sense I got out of it.
That's the artist himself.
Oh, that is the artist.
That's he and his sister.
Oh, wow.
And they survived because they were in hiding. But you are right. She's older. She knows the times are not regular times. She's forced to wear it. He's still a little kid, so, you know, that's okay. So yes, this dichotomy of someone who is too young to understand the calamity which is at the threshold is there. She's older. She already knows.
Well, another one that I want to look at is this one, which is, I think, one of the most amazing pieces here, frankly, for me, though they're all amazing, and it's overwhelming to talk about it. I mean, one of the things you get when you walk around is we're talking about it, but it's about the paintings that talk themselves. And so when you speak, you feel so inadequate to, you know, to talk about these figures. But at the same time, I feel a need of some explanation and elaboration for a number of them. But this one is clearly the uniform, but not the uniform that they wore in Auschwitz or the other camps. But tell me more about it. Who's the artist, by the way?
Shlomit Levin.
Yes.
And we have to remember that Israelis are very well versed with the Bible. And the idea of the coat of many colors by Joseph is something that embedded within us. And what Shulamit does here is to tell you a new story about a different coat with different colors at different circumstances. If Jacob gave Joseph the colored coat because of his love, the coat the Jews were forced to wear in Auschwitz is the outcome of hate. And thus, if you look closer at it, it just seemingly looks like the Auschwitz attire.
Yes, but it's
but
not.
If you look closely, you can see these are Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters are of names of Holocaust victims, those who perished.
Is it from the family?
Yes,
it's
it's some of her family, an extended family, yes, which, and you can see it also has the number of Auschwitz. So what she wants to tell you that wearing that prisoner's attire led to the final solution. So the coat became a coat with a totally new message, but she's still reckoning biblical story.
Well, I want to thank you, Cutie. I mean, it's a great exhibition. It's open for all of next year?
Correct, until next Yom HaShoah, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening and giving me the chance to introduce to you and your audience these pieces of art. Toda rabba.